Hi, and welcome back to Like Rare from Cambridge. Today I'm going to talk to you about Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale, some biblical references. If you want to know more specifically about allusions to handmaids, check out my last video, linked down below. Please remember to like and subscribe. So, The Handmaid's Tale is full of biblical allusions. It's literally steeped in reference to the Bible. I'm going to start off by talking about Martha, angels, and the Jezebels. So, the Marthas to begin with. Now, this comes up in Luke chapter 10, round about verse 40-41. The situation is that Jesus, in the New Testament, has gone to visit his friends, Martha and Mary. And he goes in, and Mary spends time talking to him, entertaining him. Martha is busy out back in the kitchen, and she gets a bit grumpy about this. And she comes in and she says to Jesus, "Look, that's not really fair. She's sitting down here. You should send her to come and help me." And Jesus rebukes Martha and says, "No, Mary is doing the right thing. There are times and moments where focusing on the person is the right thing. Martha is there to do the chores, it seems." So straight away we've got this reference to someone who is there, whose purpose is to do the chores. And that's something about kind of women knowing their place. Although in this story in the New Testament, we could say that perhaps Jesus is saying it's not all about preparing food and knowing your place. Actually, the interpersonal relations are important. So Atwood takes a well-known figure from the Bible. There's well-known in common discussions about the Bible, the difference between a Martha type figure and a Mary type figure. Secondly, the angels. Now, there's perhaps not quite so much to say about this, but certainly in the Old and New Testaments, angels are there as messengers and as guides for the people in different situations. And here I think Atwood has just taken that to consolidate the idea that we are in this kind of biblical world, or a world that is ruled by biblical ideas and notions. Third one to do with names is the Jezebels. And of course, Jezebels is the nightclub that the handmaids are illicitly taken to for the purposes of having sex. Now, if we look in the Bible in the Old Testament at the first book of Kings, we see reference to a character known as Jezebel. She's quite an unpleasant character and quite a controlling character and a demanding character. And hence in popular culture, to be a Jezebel is quite a negative thing. And indeed, it often refers to, in modern speech, a Jezebel might be someone who is a fallen woman or a prostitute or someone who's not behaving in a womanly way. So the fact that this place is called Jezebel's is in direct contrast to the way that these handmaids are supposed to behave. A handmaid is supposed to accept the judgment of the Bible and accept that they are there as a vessel for procreation. The Jezebels are there as actively kind of sinful women, really. So that is the distinction that is made there. So if we're still talking about names, we have Gilead, which references an area close to the Jordan River. And we also have the land of milk and honey, which is an interesting one referenced. When Offred goes to the shop, she talks about milk and honey being the shop. Now, this is perhaps an ironic reference because in the Bible, the land of milk and honey was like the promised land. It was a land where things were very positive and overflowing with joy and food. And of course, that is not the case in Gilead, certainly for the handmaids. So that's so far as the names that Atwood has chosen are related to the Bible. There's two more areas that I want to talk about, and they're specific biblical references. And these are moments when Offred is remembering what she's been taught by the aunts. And she remembers the usual stuff that they all had to hear and that is regurgitated as well at the beginning of the ceremony. This idea that they must be fruitful, multiply and replenish the earth. And she references that God is always saying this to Noah and to Moses and to everybody. So she's remembered that. And if you look in the book of Genesis, often God does say, go forth, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth. So this is taken as a key mantra, if you like, from the narrative that the aunts and the state is imposing on the handmaids. They are going to the Bible to justify what it is they're doing. This is often the case, that they go to the Bible, but sometimes, of course, Offred knows that they're manipulating the Bible. And the big reference for this is the reference to the Beatitudes in Matthew's Gospel. These are the phrases that Jesus talks about when he's saying this is how you should behave to people, because these people who behave like this will be blessed. So blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the meek. There's a whole litany of what are known as Beatitudes. Now, in Matthew chapter 5, we have blessed are the meek. We know that Offred remembers this, and she remembers Aunt Lydia in particular saying this, but she says she didn't go on to say about inheriting the earth. Now, in the Beatitudes in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus said, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. But purposefully, Lydia misses this out because, of course, she doesn't want to suggest that there is going to be a reward for the handmaids. She is just going to try to use the Bible to pacify the handmaids and to oppress them. Another way that Aunt Lydia does this, and Offred remembers correctly when she hears this, is that Aunt Lydia says, blessed are the silent. And Offred knows that this isn't in the Bible. Now, she takes this as part of her kind of internal ideas and internal narrative that she creates for herself. And she knows that she remembers this, and it kind of gives her a little bit of hope, a little bit of assurance, reassurance really, that she's not gone completely crazy, and that there was a time before and it was different, and that the message from the state has been manipulated. So these are all really important allusions to the Bible that Atwood has included in order to make us question how the Bible and the values and ideas in the Bible are used in day-to-day life, and how in fact any use of a religious text and a religious narrative can be used in perhaps good ways, but also in more sinister, manipulative ways. So I hope you found that useful. Please do join me again for some other texts and other contexts. Check out my biblical allusion videos and explanations of the Bible if you would like to know a little more. Cheerio, I hope to see you again soon.